Good evening. Welcome to the very first construction industry event at Double O's new facility and the first in-person CSI event since COVID locked us all down. Many of you know me, but for those that don't, my name is Mike Otis. I'm the founder of Double O and a CSI member of near 25 years now. I've been in the glass industry for 40 years this year, which basically just means I'm really old. I apologize for not being able to be with you in person this evening. I was really looking forward to it, but a last-minute medical procedure took me out of state, so I hope this short video was a helpful introduction in my absence. Graham had specifically asked me to share a few things that we at Double O have done or are doing in community development in this neighborhood where we're at, and so I thought I'd take a couple of minutes and share those things before the Double O team jumps in and shares some really exciting changes we're going to bring to the West Michigan construction industry this current year. So I want to begin talking a little bit about our philosophy in business, because we're all kind of an outworking of our philosophy, right? At Double O, we actually talk about the fact that we don't exist solely to make a profit. You might often ask, why does any company exist? Well, actually, in our company, we've answered that question clearly. We don't exist solely to make a profit. We exist to grow a company where people love to work. Now, how does that impact what we're talking about? The impact is very significant, because if our focus is to grow a company where people love to work, then what it becomes is we as executives at Double O focus on building a team and building a process and building people and helping people grow in their career, and focusing on creating a perfect environment that respects our people and trains them and nurtures them and develops them. And when we do that well, then our people are really equipped to do a phenomenal job of focusing on the needs of our customers and the needs of our projects. And so that's an important philosophy. We want to grow a company where people love to work. And in fact, you'll see that posted around the building here and there. Profit, what that means to us is profit is not enough. Profit is a great thing. It's an important thing. I've often said that profit to a company is like breathing to a person. I can't live if I don't breathe, but breathing isn't the reason I exist. It's not my purpose. So my purpose is much greater than that as an individual, and our purpose as a company is much greater than profit. We have to have profit to exist, but that's not our sole reason. Our reason is to do so much more. One of the philosophy that is really important to us at Double O is presence. To have an impact, we have to be present. I remember about 6 or 7 years ago now, we began to talk about the fact that we needed to get serious about an industrial facility. We were still housed in my home after we'd been in business quite a number of years. But remember, we'd gone through 2008. We were a little bit hesitant to take on a bunch of overhead. And so we were still being really conservative and staying to super low overhead, low facility cost. We had a small barn around the corner from our property, from our home, and another small one on our home property. And so anyway, we began to look then for a more significant facility, and in order to do that, we began to ask the question, where? And that became an important principle of presence. We wanted our company to make an impact much greater than merely making money or making and selling and installing windows or whatever the case may be. And so we started to survey the neighborhoods of Grand Rapids, and we started to say, where could we go where our presence would have a positive impact in the community? We could have gone down the street in Byron Center and popped into an industrial park in one of those big steel boxes, and those are fine. They serve the need well, but they wouldn't allow us to have the same impact. And so we learned of the 49507 area. We talked with community developers. I talked with one individual that was very involved in the 49507 area, and I said, hey, what does this area need? And I remember his response so clearly. He said, it's so simple. He said, this community needs one thing and one thing more than any by far, and that's jobs. And so I thought, well, wow, here we are, a growing company. We're looking to hire people. In fact, at that point, we had been on the Inc. 5000 list for 3 years in a row. We were growing fast, one of the fastest growing in the nation. We needed people. And there was a neighborhood in West Michigan, in Grand Rapids, where the unemployment rate is really high. In fact, did you know that in 49507, when the unemployment rate in the state of Michigan is like 4%, and even in Grand Rapids it's maybe around 4 or 5%, in the 49507 area, it's been stated that it's anywhere from 35 to 50%. Now we can talk about a lot of reasons, but we felt like that was the reason for us to move to the 49507 area. And so we intentionally sought out a facility in this neighborhood. We found an old warehouse, 1530 Madison, and we spent 4 years there. Many of you have been there. We did a presentation. I did a presentation to a CSI meeting 3-4 years ago on the renovation of that cool old historic building. So at that time, then we began to work with this value of presence, and we bought that building, we began to renovate it, and we started seeking other people who might be interested in moving into that facility because it was just too big for us. But we still wanted to have an impact, and we wanted to be there, and we felt like it was the right place. In fact, being too big for us was actually something we looked for because we wanted something we could grow into. And so we partnered with, after a time, Bethany Christian Services and their Building Bridges program, their youth program, that they were looking for a facility. And so they took the lower level of our building. We worked together to renovate that, and we took the upper level of that building at 1530 Madison, and we renovated the whole facility, and they were working downstairs and we were working upstairs, and it was a really beautiful partnership. Which brings up the next thing. Another value as we face community development or think about community engagement, one of the things we're really committed to is the idea of partnership. It's never effective to say, I shouldn't say never, but it's never as effective to say, how can we go there and do this for those people? Fill in the details any way you like, but how can we do that? Well, that's not the answer. We don't go somewhere and do something for someone. We go and connect with someone to do something with someone. And the difference is huge. And so partnership is such a critical part of what we do in the way we engage community development here in the 49507 area. And in that case, we partnered with Bethany Christian Services, as I mentioned. We created a space for Building Bridges to go, and Youth Build is the program that they were putting together, or had actually put together for some time. So what they do in Youth Build is they take kids in the neighborhood who have dropped out of school, don't have their high school diploma or their GED, and they put them in a GED program, and they help them get that. And then, at the same time, they teach them construction skills. And this program is so well organized that they're actually able to pay these kids a small, I mean, it's very low wage, but a small hourly wage to come to this program, to get their GED, to learn construction skills, in some cases food service skills, some different things like that. And when it's all done, they graduate and they actually have an OSHA 10. They've gone through some significant training. They're ready to be to take jobs in construction. And what do we know about the construction industry right now? It needs people. So anyway, that was a beautiful partnership, still is today. Love those guys. This past year, I was able to empower them to buy the building that we were in. And actually, a couple of years ago, they took over the whole facility and we had to move out. The conclusion was we looked at it and said, well, you know, we're both getting too big for this place and one of us can't be here anymore. And I felt like it was important that they stayed where they were because of their need for place. Their location was critical to the work that they did. And so they stayed there. We found an opportunity to move out. By the way, that building today is called, and I absolutely love this, it's called the Grand Rapids Center for Community Transformation. And I think that's fantastic because one of the things we really want to be about is transforming our community into something so much richer, so much better that can meet the needs of people. So that's one example of a partnership and community development that we've done. Over the years, we've partnered with Habitat for Humanity. For over 20 years now, we've been their primary window supplier, and we haven't been able to donate windows to them. Well, maybe one occasion we were able to, but normally not. But we provide their windows at such a low price, no other company seems interested in taking that deal away from us. We also partner with an organization almost across the street from us, right around the corner on Garden, called Next Step of West Michigan. Now they joined up with Mel Trotter this year, but they had been an independent organization for a long time. And so Next Step specifically takes people who come out of prison and helps them find their next step to integrate them back into society. The recidivism rate is huge. That's the rate at which people go back into prison having come out. So how can we stop that from happening? Well, next step, Scott Johnkoff over there said, hey, here's something I think we can do. And he began to do construction work with these guys and help them figure out how to have a job and how to be a positive contributing member of society. So we partnered with them, using them on some of our projects as much as we could and doing a number of things together. We've also partnered with Livingstone's Academy, a local school that is a nonprofit, private school that helps kids from underserved neighborhoods and maybe low-income families get a high-quality private education. In Potter's House, we've had some connections with those guys, and some of you are familiar with Potter's House. John Boy over there, a good friend of mine. We've been able to do work on their projects. Another thing that we've done, here's one. When you think of 00, do you think of single-family home window replacement? Well, maybe we have done it in past years, but in the recent years, we don't do that anymore. We are a commercial glazing window and door company, so commercial projects only. Well, except a couple of exceptions, and that's this. ICCF came to us. Many of you are familiar with them. And so they came to us and they said, hey, we just had this opportunity to buy 177 really nasty old houses, and they all need windows. Would you be willing to help us? And so we took that project on. And so we have been and are continue to replace the windows as they go through these homes, one after another, get it renovated, cleaned up, fixed up, and then entered into their program where they help people with home ownership. And much like Habitat, but it's a little different twist to it. And so they do some really awesome work. And this year we had the opportunity to work on their new building that they put together just around the corner on Franklin. That helps to, provides housing for like 40 people, if I remember it, or 40 family groups, as well as their offices, as well as a church, as well as a daycare, bunch of different work all under one roof. That's really cool. Another opportunity that we just committed to is Urban Roots, as an organization here in Grand Rapids that does inner city gardens, community gardens. And so we happen to have a backyard, so we shared that. So as far as what we do in community development, I'm getting way too long-winded here, but what we do in community development, we really strive to say, what do we have? What do we do where we can maybe do it together, share it together with other organizations in the neighborhood that are seeking to have a positive impact on the community? And that's really it. It's a wide range of different random things that we plugged into to say, look, we need to be about more than dollars. We need to be about more than just profit, even more than just the next cool big building that's getting built in town. We need to be about this neighborhood, this community, and making certain that we're leaving a lasting impact in the lives of people. So I hope that offers some explanation. You find that helpful, and I hope you have a fantastic evening. Thank you for listening.